This activity is made possible by the voters of Minnesota through a Minnesota State Arts Board Operating Support Grant, thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and a grant from the Wells Fargo Foundation, Minnesota.
Hi, welcome to the Schubert Club Music Museum Minis. My name is Jared Rush. I am a local organist and repair technician. And today I'm going to talk about the Hammond B3. So the Hammond organ was invented by Lawrence Hammond, who is a native of Illinois, and he originally started as an inventor who invented things like the 3D glasses, as well as an automatic bridge table. He had over 150 patents in his lifetime. And what he was most known for at the early part of his career was the Hammond clock, because he stumbled upon building a motor called a sync motor, and that's what this is. And what's special about this motor is when it's connected to power, it spins at a perfect speed. It never slows down or speeds up. And he thought, well, that would be a great invention. I could turn that into a clock because you need accurate time. So that took off, and that kind of afforded him the ability to come up with more inventions. And one day he was working on repairing one of his clocks, and when he held one of the gears of the clock next to the motor in a magnet, it started to make a tone. And since Lawrence Hammond didn't really know anything about music, but he knew he could make some sort of musical instrument, he employed a local engineer who he knew named John Hammond, and he was somebody who not only understood the mechanics of motors, but he also had a musical background. So between the two, they bought a piano. They tore all the guts out of it except just the keys, and they began trying to figure out how they were going to build this instrument. So there are many different controls on the Hammond organ. On the far left, we have volume control, fast or loud and soft. And then there's the vibrato. And I switch through these. And then next to that, we have these black keys, and a lot of people always wonder, what do those do? They don't actually make any tones. They're presets, so you can wire up presets on the back of this organ to make it easier than having to switch things while you're playing. And some of them, I'll just kind of run through a few of them. And the first two are ones that are assigned to these drawbars. And the drawbars are basically stops that can be pulled out to emulate different size pipes in a pipe organ. And so I'll show you each one of them here. There's the lowest one. The next one. So all of those are combined together to make certain sounds. And one of my favorite is pulling out the largest and the smallest, and you get this kind of a whistle sound, which is great for if you're playing reggae music. music that a lot of the Hammond organ is used for is a lot of blues. And there were some very famous people, Jimmy McGriff, there's Tony Monaco, Dr. Lonnie Smith, Jimmy Smith, and they just kind of pioneered the jazz organ and blues organ with finding these certain stops. And it's usually these first three get pulled out, and to the right side of the organ you have what's called the percussion. It's something that they added to give more of a tact to the sound, and I can show you what that sounds like. And then you can change it by making it quieter, or you can make it decay longer. And then there's what's called the third and the second harmonic. And so when you pull out a stop, you can add these sounds to it. And that gave us the sound of along with blues and jazz, there are a lot of churches, especially gospel churches, that loved the Hammond organ, even for all of its flaws. It was never really a perfect organ invention, because under each one of these keys there's 9 contacts, there's switches. So out of both of these manuals there's a total of 1,220 switches. And some of the times these switches make certain sounds. They call it key click, and you can kind of hear it. It's like electrical pulse when they're connected. And a lot of people, especially Lawrence Hammond, didn't like it. He thought it was a flaw. But a lot of gospel organists and rock organists love it because it's a percussive sound that they can use to their advantage. So the gospel churches like to pull out all of the stops and get this really big sound like this. That's the gospel sound, but along with your hands, there is pedals that produce bass tones that sound like this. So it's playing the keyboard with your feet, which in my case I have big feet and it's hard to reach them. But I'll show you what that sounds like. So as you can see, with all the different stops and different options that are on this instrument, it really allows you to make all different kinds of music. And I would urge you to, next time you turn on the radio, listen in the background, and I would almost guarantee you'll hear an Hammond organ on there. It's one of the most widely recorded instruments, especially for keyboard. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you come down to the Schubert Club Museum and check this instrument out for, in person and see just how wonderful it is. Thank you.